Undisputed, and I'm playing a quick fight against the computer on Undisputed Casual. This is the only place in this game that I think you can actually have an enjoyable experience. I've said it since the game came out, it is a terrible online experience that makes no sense. And for a long time, playing the computer was even worse. Computer seemed to have an impenetrable force field for blocking, and then they would unleash a combo that you couldn't do anything about, and it was just a terrible experience. They have improved that, and I think you get a much better game against the computer here than you did in Fight Night Champion. So what my point being here is, watching this, you probably own the game. You own the game, you spent money on the game, and I'm willing to bet you ain't getting your money's worth. That's why nobody plays the game anymore. But if you're trying to, again, I don't think you're ever going to get a good experience online. If they were capable of it, they would have done it by now. But this is actually something where you can actually replicate some actual boxing, and on the highest difficulty, which is nice. The one thing I will say that I would like to see change, I can actually show it to you right here. Now I'm going to go for a jab and back up, and he throws, and he didn't do it there, but he's at some point probably in the fight, he's going to start throwing a lot of power punches, which is going to gas him really bad. So I would like to see a little smarter decisions from the AI, because, playing Canelo on Undisputed, it should be a severe challenge, whereas, really here, it's not. Now, there are some fighters that are a real challenge, because they do seem to have that impenetrable block. But, Canelo is not one of them. I find that it's mostly lower level fighters. I know one of the roughest for me was Shannon Briggs. I've never beaten Shannon Briggs. I haven't fought him 100 times or anything, but I think I was just 0 for 3. Couldn't hit him with anything. He would hit me with everything, and down I would go. But I actually don't have that DLC anymore, so there you see he's gonna jab, and then he's gonna come back with that power punch. And you see he's doing it over and over, and that's just draining his stamina. And that's good if you want to win, but it is a problem because as the fight goes on, he's not going to have anything left, and then it becomes much less competitive. I don't know if that's like a frustration thing that's built into the game, because obviously he wasn't, throwing all these power punches in the first round, and now he is. But as you see there, you can just start putting together some better combos, because the computer will lean back, but they do it as a pull. They don't do it as a permanent position. And, I think the biggest thing with the computer is to know when to stay inside and when to get outside. I will say I have not played a career mode outside of, the first few fights, since they added, weight class changes and stuff like that. I do, when I try to play it, career mode really sucks. I know the last time I tried to start a career mode, I lost my third fight, and then when I went for the next fight, which was not a rematch or anything, I had 5 weeks to train, and somehow 3 of that was media events. So you gotta really be careful when you're doing career mode, because they, I shouldn't, close. They will do odd things there that obviously you're not going to be able to win a fight if you got 3 weeks out of 5 off. So I do think career mode it's bad, especially when, for me personally, I would like to start out with, fighting with fighters that I like, so it's easier just to go to quick fight here. Obviously, if you want to build your fighter up, then it makes a lot more sense to go through the career mode. I find it really tedious, and your fighter just sucks when you first start. You're not going to be able to really do anything, and it's not the best process of getting up in stats. And then, of course, you get to the point where you're so good that nobody can even test you. I think the best thing they could do with career mode, it's so odd they don't have it, is if you could change the difficulty in the middle of your career. Because if whatever difficulty you pick when you start your career, that's going to be what it is forever. And that's rough. So I'd like to see that change, obviously, but... There we go, got him wrong. And he's in the corner. Now, see, this is another thing, obviously, even against the computer. Rocking somebody doesn't do a ton. Like, they're still going to be getting around on you. So, like, he ate a lot of shots there. There we go. But see, like, that's something that, see, the counter that I hit him with would never have, finally. The counter that I hit him, or I'm sorry, I ducked and countered him. That would never have landed when this game first came out. He would have dodged that. The one thing I will say when you're playing the computer, and I would say even on lower difficulties, never just start with a power punch. You gotta set it up. If you start with a power punch, they're gonna roll off of it, which does make sense. Like I said, my only complaint about this, it's Canelo. That's fair. My only complaint about this is that the fighters gas themselves out too early. Now, if you're fighting somebody like a Lomachenko, you can just stay around, but if you go up to your opponent and jab them, body or head, hit or miss, they will generally return, and they're going to return with a lot more than you put out, which is going to give you a kind of like an infinite stamina advantage. There are ways that you can tweak the stamina before you start a quick fight. I don't know exactly how that would work, because I've never done it. He's lacing me up now. But, that if you could tweak it to, them just not losing as much stamina, because at a point here in this fight, it's going to get a little too easy. But like I said, this is, again, I boxed when I was a teenager and when I was an early adult. I was pretty successful, and this does actually have some feel of what boxing is. It's not complete. I don't think you can ever really completely give that experience to somebody. It would have to be an incredibly well done VR game, I would say, to actually give somebody that experience, but it's better than Fight Night Champion, which was not a very good game against the computer. You could really just back up against most fighters. They would gas themselves, and then you're just counterpunching. I mean, I could probably still do it because I still have Fight Night Champion. I used to do no blocking challenges where I fight the computer on whatever the highest, I think it's legendary in that game. And I would just not block. I would just use head movement and walk backwards and get them really gassed and win that way. So that, I guess this in a way is similar, because again, I'm just draining his stamina by letting him do his own thing, which is what I was doing in that game also. But I do feel like the way you put punches together in this game is a lot more realistic than what you would get with Fight Night Champion. But let's be honest here, start of the 5th round, Canelo having 58 stamina, absolutely ridiculous. We know Canelo, we know that he has a lot of stamina, so missed that. And obviously you're still going to deal with some wonky animations and stuff in here at times, but it's nothing as egregious as when you're online. Like I said, if you bought this game and you're just like most people and you're like, I can't play this online, it is so fucking bad, this is the place to try to get something out of this game. I understand for a lot of people this is not going to be something that's going to get you to reinstall the game, but if you're a big fan of it and you've just been really disappointed, this is something you can do with it. It's the best experience of the game. It's where the game looks best. It's where the game performs best. You know. Obviously, I picked Canelo and Crawford here because that's a huge fight coming up. Canelo will most likely win that fight, even though I would like to see Crawford win.
This is about ego. Get your ego in check, Todd, because...
See, I play it on casual because I'm just really bad if I can't see my little stamina bar. I will get myself knocked out pretty quickly. Oh. Yeah, it was... Now, see, that not landing really does suck, but...
Despite what the judges' scorecards read, there are no losers in this one.
And, you know, when you're playing against the computer here, like you see here, I actually have this fight for 15 rounds, you know. We're not going to be here that long, hopefully. But, you know, it's just a better game like this. This is the only place where the game looks pretty good. I don't know, you know, I think it would be so hard for them to get this version of the game online because you're dealing with servers and you're dealing with people. You know, as much as this game has a ton of problems, and I'll be the first to admit that it is unacceptable, the state that this game is in, the player base makes it a lot worse than it has to be. Now, obviously you could counter-argue that by saying, well, the game allows it. That's fair, but you know, the player base for this game is very toxic, so... I'm throwing too many power punches here, though. I don't want to gas out myself, so... He's dropped me, and I don't think I ever dropped him.
They need to be careful and punch themselves out here. Canelo insert, what an upset here as Alvarez goes down. Let's watch this again. He set it up.
So yeah, I mean, I'm kind of just filling time talking here. If you haven't played the game in a while and you really love boxing and you really wanted this to be great, you know, like I said, I don't think this is going to cause a lot of people to reinstall the game. But there is something here playing against the computer that is enjoyable. Right now, I'm having fun. And I could not say that about this game in any other way. So, you know, I would obviously recommend playing this way. Like I said, I do it on casual because I like to see the stamina, that bar that I have. But if you put it on competitive, I think that's the only difference, is that you're not going to see your own stamina bar, and in between rounds you will not see your opponent's stamina. But I may be wrong. There may be other differences. That's just what I've been able to pick out and I'm aware of. Again, this was a game that I would not play against the computer for months when it came out. So, that's a problem there of why that right hook does not land for me.
We've never seen Canelo in this sort of trouble.
I thought he was going to throw a punch there. Yeah, I mean, that's such a problem. Like, these guys need to be able to get knocked down when they're rocked. Like, this is a problem on and offline. It seems like you have to rock people like several times to really get through the block. But I don't know. It's unless you can get somebody on the ropes, a stun state really doesn't mean anything. Yeah, game's over, and I'm gonna show you here that it was on Undisputed. I start all these videos a little late just because I was copyright claimed by Lupe Fiasco before I took my channel down, so that was just from the music being in the game. So I don't start my recording until the match is already in there and all the music's gone. But yeah, I mean, I think this is probably the best this game can play. You see there, Undisputed Computer. Yeah, so if you haven't played this in a while, you know, you might want to give it a try, see if you like it at all. If you like this, please like, comment, subscribe. I appreciate it.